Senior Living on Location is produced by Senior Living Media, celebrating seniors in our community.
Mark Twain said it best, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Meet Walter and Bertha Frankoski. The pair are well into their 80s and both have created new careers in their senior years. Walter and Bertha have been married for 60 years and have 8 children. Bertha, or Bert as she likes to be called, got into her career when she hit her 50s and discovered she not only likes to paint, but was actually good at it.
Well, it was sort of funny in a way because he used to come home from work. This is when he was still working, and he'd paint pretty well every evening and weekends, every chance he got. And one day I said to him, you know, I'm getting really tired of watching you just do nothing but paint. Well, the very next day he showed up after work and he had canvas for me, he had paints, he had brushes, he had everything I needed to start, and he said, paint. And I did. I didn't know I could, but I did.
And that's how Bertha's career was born. Bert's aptitude didn't stop with painting. She's also a heavy hitter on Facebook. She's quite proud of her computer skills, especially being able to pick them up later in life. She also uses her computer savvy to enlarge her pictures for her oil and acrylics work. This self-taught artist is influenced by nature and wildlife with a special interest in birds. Bert takes a very casual approach to painting. She'll just sit down and see what comes out. Most of the time, as she says, her pieces are just happy accidents. Now, her husband Walter is a different story. His artistic ability came at a very young age when he became interested in painting as a hobby. He dabbled in it throughout his life, but only made it a full-time career after his retirement. Walter has never had any formal training either. This self-taught artist paints in watercolor and sculpts stone, wood, and cement. His real passion, though, lies with stone.
Found out that I loved particularly stone. Stone being a lasting substance, and it's the most surprising of substances because when you take a piece of stone from a river or from a gravel pit, it's just a gray blob, heavy, and then when you start working it and cut open, it comes alive. The patterns are unbelievable. The colors are way out from what you originally started with. So it's a very inspiring media for me to work with.
Walter has mastered stone carving and specializes in granite, serpentine, and basalt sculptures. Walter's largest sculpture, called Fruit of the Earth, can be seen outside the Summerland, BC Municipal Hall.
99.9% of the stone that I have here comes from some places in British Columbia. Some from the Okanagan, some from the Kootenay area, which I have a daughter living in. And most of the stone, though, comes from the Nanaimo Lakes Road and the old gravel pit that is a famous swimming hole by the Nanaimo River. And that's where I get most of my local stone from. This piece particularly comes from Cranbrook, and this is the way the stone would look when I first picked it up from the ground.
And this is what the stone looks like after his creative hands take over. Walter and Bertha have a large property bordering on one of their children's in the Nanaimo, BC area. The backyard of the property originally housed meters upon meters of blackberry bushes. Now it features stunning sculptures that capture the imagination.
I developed this within the last 5 years, actually, is the use of expanded metal, it's called, or it's used for stuccoing houses. And so the forms that you see are first created by a sheet of metal that then is literally sewn together with steel wire and then pulled and pushed, because it's called expanded metal, and that's exactly what it means, to create the shapes you see.
Walter has a more analytical approach when it comes to his art. As for what inspires him,
the inspiration comes from, I have no idea. It just comes. And when I had the concept of being able to look at this stump, which was at this point here, I envisioned something on it and wasn't sure what. But ballerina somehow just came into my head. So I utilized a family member, my granddaughter Tasha, which lives in Gabriel Island, and she posed for me for a number of photographs that then I used to create the statue from the various shapes. I took the traditional comedy and tragedy, which shows theater, which encompasses every story of life. And so therefore, anything that I do fits this theme.
And in this theme and inspiration, his family is a definite muse for him.
This is my son-in-law, Edward.
And Wally decided to put me on here, you see.
Stand up underneath.
So if you stand beside here, this way you might see how close it is. I don't know, everybody says it's close.
I think it's an image.
And you made it right to size. Like he took
It's life size.
my waist size and my belly size, but he was wrong there, I think.
Yeah, I didn't make it big enough.
And in case you're curious, the woman holding Edward's hand is Walter's daughter. Now, some of Walter's inspirations also come from his frustrations.
And this piece here was an inspiration because we had a little bit of a problem with young people playing in the back of our property here and not realizing that it's private property. So I thought it somehow to scare them off without having to come out and holler at them. So I came up with this Excalibur, actually, Merlin with the Excalibur, but he is from the front kind of spooky. So that if a child comes out here to play in the evening, he will see this kind of a figure looming over him and at him. And within the face portion, there's two spheres that are actually gold color, which are part of the solar lighting, which will come on at evening and will literally scare the heck out of any young kid that comes into the yard.
We thought it was the Grim Reaper, but in any case it does do its job, and we can see this being a big seller. In fact, the couple sells their art online and via a few small locations in Nanaimo, including West Coast Floral Design. Now, Walter doesn't like to boast, but he's won a variety of juried art shows and People's Choice Awards with his detailed landscape paintings and his unique hand-carved custom frames. Yes, he does that as well. For this couple, staying active by pursuing an artistic endeavor is one that they have come to share later in their life and well into their retirement. Their passion for art and nature helps keep them active and engaged in living. While they do try to sell some of their work, they are artists because their passion drives them, not solely to make a living. For Walter, life is just too short to create all the masterpieces he has inside him.